Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. Arsenal 1, Fulham 0 at the Craven Cottage. Not a better performance I would ask for, but that performance again was a little bit cranky. It wasn't the icing on the cake, but it was enough for us to go back on top of the table. 1-0, Leandro Trossard. We created a couple of chances. We did, I think we didn't take our chances, honestly. Gyokeres maybe should have had a goal in that game. Maybe Saka should have had a goal. TROSSARD as well, at the beginning of the second half, had a very, very good chance. And in the first half, I think we did create some chances. But in this video, I want us to talk about Arsenal back on top of the table. Obviously, we've got to talk about the positives from that game. But we've got to talk about Victor Gyokeres. For me, there is a massive problem with Victor Gyokeres, and I want us to talk about it. It's not about him as a player, but it's about the team. Is he playing in a system that doesn't recognize him? Is he playing in a system where he's almost invisible? We'll talk about Victor Gyokeres. I want us to talk about the attack generally. Are you convinced that this attack is doing enough in terms of going to lift the Premier League? Because if you look at Manchester City so far this season have scored 17 goals. And a big chunk of that has come from Erling Haaland. Now, is it going to dry down? Maybe Erling Haaland doesn't score as many goals in the coming games anymore. Maybe, probably. But at the moment, Man City are scoring way more goals and they're conceding less. And it's frightening. It's really, really frightening. They look stable, and we don't look as stable. So we'll talk about the attack. We'll talk about Victor Gyokeres as a player, and then we'll talk about the general feeling I've got around this club, especially in terms of I feel this is our year. We should be going to win the Premier League, but for me, the last 2 games or the last 3 games that we've actually played, something feels. It just doesn't feel right. Is it the injuries that we have suffered at the beginning of the campaign? Is it the new players that have not yet settled in? We'll be talking about all that. But let's start off with the positives. Arsenal back on top of the table, 8 games in. We are now obviously waiting for Liverpool to play. If Liverpool do not win, then that means that Arsenal will be officially about 2 points or 4 points, depending on the result that will come out of today against Manchester United. Honestly, I expect Liverpool to beat Manchester United very comfortably, and this is honest from me. I know there is a lot of optimism from many Arsenal fans that maybe Manchester United get a result, but when I think about Liverpool and I think about Manchester United this season, I don't give Manchester United a chance. But for Arsenal, that is what you've got to keep doing. And I said it, there are times when you're going to win ugly. In the last 2 seasons, Arsenal have not won at the Craven Cottage. In the last season alone, Arsenal didn't even, I think we lost 3 times to Newcastle. So in this campaign, in the campaign where you feel like you want to win the league, that is what has to change, right? You've got to go to the Craven Cottage and pick up 3 points. You've got to go to the St. James's Park and pick up 3 points. And I think we've actually done that, right? Maybe the manner in which we've done is not as convincing for a team that has spent 300 million in the summer. But for now, we can actually say a job well done. Now, the title race is shaping up already. It is 8 games in. And for me, by the time you're going into November, you already know who's going to be part of the title race and who's not going to be part of it. I think we're going to have 3 teams. Arsenal will be there. Manchester City will be there. And Liverpool will be there. Again, the usual culprits. I think those are the 3 teams that are going to be part of this title race. Liverpool, 4 points behind Arsenal with a game in hand. Manchester City, 3 points behind Arsenal. Same number of games. But we've played a little bit of, we've played more difficult games. We've played some of our difficult games. Liverpool is out of the way. Manchester United is out of the way. And a couple of others. So it's going to be, as we go into November and December, it's going to be about, can you create a run of form that maybe helps you create that 7-point difference, 8-point difference on top of the table? And we are doing it right now. But I want us to talk about this attack. Let's start off with Victor Gyokeres. Now, when we signed Gyokeres in the summer, or before we signed Gyokeres in the summer, the feeling from people like me, I don't know from you, but the feeling was we are getting a striker that would score in such games. Fulham, Nottingham Forest did score in that. Leeds United. You know, I was thinking you get a striker that helps you win such games, right? And Gyokeres I wanted because he's one of the players that had scored a lot of goals in Europe. And I was like, this is the striker we definitely need. But when I think about it right now, and when I look at him, right, I think he will score goals eventually, but not many goals. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. Unless the team changes completely, and it would be completely crazy for us to build our team around Victor Gyokeres alone. For me, I kind of feel like he has failed to fit in as a player. He has failed to fit in as a striker. The league is too physical for him. You look at almost every defender is bullying him. Almost every defender. And this is not me getting frustrated. I don't have any frustration. We are winning games. And I would love to talk about it at a point like this where we are winning games and everything is going all right. Victor Gyokeres is struggling to match the physicality and the pace of the Premier League. Now, he's one of those players, he's one of those strikers that would love to go solo. He would love to go pick up the ball and drive into space, pick up the ball and, just attack the space. In the Premier League, you're not going to be doing that. What you need is awareness in terms of positioning, awareness in terms of off-ball runs, awareness in terms of, getting into space. I don't think, like, when I look at him and I look at the other strikers in the league, it just feels weird. It just feels off. And I'm not saying he's actually, a reason as to why Arsenal are not scoring enough goals. We are scoring goals and everything is okay. But I am concerned. And I want to bring out my concern in this video. In a video where we've won a game. Because so that people don't say, look, Cossy, you're frustrated, we're not winning, the whole team is not doing well. Actually, the other parts of the team are doing well. I think if Arsenal have a player like Sergio Aguero, if we have a player like Julian Alvarez, with this run of form that the team is picking up, I think Julian Alvarez would be scoring goals. I think, I don't know, I just don't trust Šeško. I just don't like Šeško as a person. I never liked him. I don't think he is any better. But I looked at Victor Gyokeres yesterday. He had about 3 good chances on goal. And the 3 of them, he went for power, blasting the ball in front of the goalkeeper, and one of the other chance, blasting it on top of the bar. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, what is the difference between this guy and Darwin Núñez? What is the difference between this guy and Kai Havertz? Because for me, in those situations, if you're, and I said it, Arsenal need a striker that can bury 1 out of 3 chances. Saka creates for him a very good chance in the first half. Come on, you've got to bury that. Honestly, you've got to bury that. Even if you don't, win a corner. But he blasts it in front of Ban Leno, and Leno just has to, put his hands forward, and then it's gone. That's number 1. Number 2, in the second half as well, he gets a very, very good chance. I think he does well to bring the ball, into his control, and then he loses the defender. So he's one-on-one with Ban Leno and just blasts it. No plan. He's just hoping that he blasts it into the back of the net. I think he needs to change that. I think he needs to work on that. Personally, I think he really, really needs to work on that. And then, of course, he had another chance. I don't blame him for that. Saka plays the ball into him, shifts very well as well, and then he blasts it. Ban Leno again does a great job. He serves it, and then the rebound from Gabriel Martinelli doesn't actually go in. But I'm looking at Gyokeres, and I'm looking at the runs, and I'm looking at what he wants to do as a player, and I kind of feel like he's got to do much better than that. He's got to be better. Because we're going to need goals from him. There's no question about that. December is coming. Games are gonna be thick and fast, and then we played Fulham. There is Tottenham coming. Tottenham coming up. There is Crystal Palace coming up. You have a Chelsea coming up. We are gonna need goals from our striker eventually, and for me at the moment, he's got to do better. And then let's talk about this whole Arsenal attack, as a whole. Yesterday, Gyokeres played as part of the midfield, and then Trossard, Saka, and Gyokeres played as the front three. That makes it 4 attacking players. Declan Rice with his energy, and Martin Zubimendi with his penetration. Everything was right about the team selection. Everything was absolutely right. There is one thing that I talked about in the summer that we didn't have: penetration. And I remember saying that for me, last summer was about effectiveness. The summer we are going into is about selling off some of the players that we have that are part of this squad and upgrading on them. The last summer was about effectiveness. Can we add effective players? I think Gyokeres signifies that. I think Gyokeres symbolizes that, and a couple of other players, the likes of Martin Zubimendi. It is just not there yet. I was frustrated with the way we were attacking. Again, that very sluggish possession-based football where you're literally passing it around. You knock it to the left, and then you knock it to the right, and then you knock it to the left again. It is not... It is boring, and it is frustrating. I could care less if Arsenal pick up 3 points, and we did. But the problem with that kind of football is the opponent is too comfortable. It is very, very comfortable for the opponent, right? And I know this should be a very positive video, but we are playing in a way that doesn't promise catastrophe for the opposition. We are playing in a way where if you're Fulham, you can easily sit in shape, and you can defend against Arsenal. And they did it yesterday. They did it actually very well. The difference is we are prolific at corners. Again, we showed it yesterday. We had so many corners, and they caused Fulham a lot of problems. And they had corners on the other end. They didn't even cause any problems, right? So I would wish for us to increase the tempo of the game. I would wish for us to increase the way we break through the lines. And that could be coming from the lack of Martin Odegaard on the pitch. Because Eddie Howe was talking about it after the Newcastle game. And he said Arsenal changed the game when they brought in Martin Odegaard. They penetrated our lines better. They penetrated our lines deeper and more frequently. So maybe the lack of Martin Odegaard, but I just don't like the way we just pass it around and hope Saka or Leandro Trossard is going to create something special. We should increase the way, we should increase the speed with which we attack, because that would be much better. Overall, this is a period of the year where you take any result. It's October. You take any result. Honestly, you take any result. October, November, December, so many games. You have transfers in there. You have international breaks in there. So players are going to be exhausted. Players are going to be tired. And the league has just begun, right? So you're going to take any result. Because most of the teams you're playing are still energetic. The season has just begun. You look at a team like let's say Crystal Palace. They have Adam Wharton and maybe Dean Henderson. They don't even play for during international break. They don't. They didn't play as many games as you would say during the international break. So they have very, very fresh squads. And these games are going to be coming in thick and fast. So I take the result. I don't have a problem with that. I love being on top of the table. I wish we keep that position until December 1st, until January 1st, until February 1st, March 1st, and whatever. But I would like us to improve the way we win games. I remember looking at Liverpool at the beginning of the campaign, and they were winning games, And it's like, but they've got to do better in terms of just, the general outlook of play. And it has come back to bite them. I also think Arsenal need to win games more comfortably. Fulham, a 2-0 should do it. Crystal Palace, maybe a 2-1, maybe a 3-1. If you're playing in Newcastle, 2-1 is fine. And by the way, again, now I look at Newcastle, they lost yesterday to Brighton. And I'm like, that shouldn't be a team that Arsenal struggle against, okay? So, the title race is on. Arsenal picking up 3 points. Obviously, that makes it another weekend where we don't have to worry about what happens with Manchester City and Liverpool. Next weekend is Crystal Palace. Again, that's a weekend where we don't have to over worry. If we can do our job. Then you have West Ham. We don't have to worry as well. Again, we can win that one. Then you have Sunderland coming up. You have Burnley coming up. The next 5 games Arsenal have are easy. Or the next 4 games are easy. An easy 12 points. Not very easy in particular, but it should be a straight 12 points. And then you hope that City and Liverpool maybe drop 3, maybe drop 4 in those, so that you create that 8-point difference on top of the table as quickly as possible. Hit the like button. Speak to you soon.